Good morning. Welcome to Monday Morning Mom. I'm Erin Sarles. Every Monday, I read a real letter from a real sports parent, and I tell you the truth about what it means. We're 13 weeks in, and I want to tell you today's letter is one that I think is going to surprise some people. Because on the surface, it looks like a story about a son who quit football, but it's not about him at all. It's about his mom and what she is carrying that he has already put down, about the dream that lived inside of her long after it stopped living inside of him, and what really happens when it does. So let's get into it. Welcome back, you guys. And again, for those new, really quick, this is like Dear Abby. If you guys remember the column that many of you might have grown up with. I know I did. It hung on my grandma's fridge. She cut it out of the newspaper. Dear Abby, somebody would write a letter and she would write back in the newspaper. So I took a play on that, and it's very fun because I have incredible letters that get written to me every week. And we go through here, read the letter, and I give my advice to you as a sports parent. So without further ado, it says, Dear Erin, my son is a freshman in college. He played football his entire life. He was good, not Division I good, but good enough that he always believed something was possible. He walked on at a small Division III school and gave it one semester. In December, he called me and said he was done. He said football had run his course. He said he was ready for the next chapter. He sounded, and this is the part that confused me, he sounded relieved. I told him I support him, and I meant it in the moment, but I haven't been able to leave it alone. Every time we talk, I find a way to bring it up. Did he talk to the coach? Has he considered walking on somewhere else? What he just gave it one more semester. I send him articles about players who took a break and came back. I bring up old games. I ask him if he misses. And finally, he said to me last week very calmly, very clearly, Mom, I need you to let this go. I already have, and I can't. I know this is about me. I know he's fine. I know he has a healthy decision. He made a healthy decision for himself and is moving forward, but I am stuck in something I don't know how to name, and I don't know how to get out of it. Why don't I let go of a dream my son already released? Still holding on in Ohio. While still holding on in Ohio, I just think it's okay to kind of sit in it. Let's talk about what you're probably really feeling. As parents, I think we carry a lot of what our children want with us, even if it's not our own stuff. It sounds like he's come to a really healthy place. And, I don't even think this is about football. I think this is a bigger question we as parents have to really think about is how do we support our kids' dreams, but not start to want it for them, where we hold it, we inquire about it, we're supportive of it, but not to the point where we take it on. And it can be very confusing. I mean, I think we hear what our kids want, and then suddenly their minds change, or suddenly something happens. And I think, for us, it's like, well, you told me you wanted to do that. Like, now where's the gap? And then I think sometimes we get stuck not knowing. And then I think we also get caught in holding on to it. Like, are we holding it on to it for them? So in case they do a U-turn and come back, we're still there. So I think all of this comes from a place of love. I think as parents, I think us wanting the best for our kids, us wanting what our kids want is I think we all want for them. And I think we inquire to support, to ensure, and, how do we make sure that we have a open dialogue so we know where our kids are at, and letting them know that, okay, is this final? I don't think you've done anything wrong. I don't think you're pressuring him. I think we as parents, I think, can just do a better job of being more inquisitive about the shift or the change. What happened? What made you make this choice to say after a semester that you want to head in a different direction? Oh, X, Y, and Z. Okay, awesome. How can I support you in this transition? What does that look like? I think if you just kind of leave it open ended and then you move in the other direction, or your kid moves in the other direction, and you haven't really spent the time understanding that change, well, then you're still holding on to where maybe he's already processed through that and you're just trying to catch up to him. So again, there's nothing wrong with, I think, inquiring, because it doesn't sound like, the way you've put it, that maybe you had all the answers to go, okay, he's really thought this through. This is what he wants. He enjoyed it. He had fun playing in high school, next level. This was fun, but just not what I want anymore. Maybe he doesn't want to be getting beat up. You got to get really inquisitive. I think sometimes as parents, we just don't ask, because I think oftentimes we're afraid of the answer. Like, what are they going to tell us? I did this because you wanted to. Who knows? I had a girlfriend reach out to me kind of on similar lines, but this was her going into college, into a D1 soccer program. And she's like, man, I realized, like, my parents wanted that. I didn't necessarily want it. I got there and I didn't really gel with the team, and I didn't enjoy the team dynamics, and it didn't turn into the friendships and the things that I think I was hoping it was going to be. And so, there's a lot of things in play, but ensuring that they always feel supportive. And one question is, have you thought this really through? Is this something you're going to look back on and regret? What's your decision-making process been? Because by the time they're telling us as parents, they've already thought about this for quite some time. So it comes as a surprise to us, but it's not a surprise to them, because he might have been thinking about this for several months before he was like, you know what, I just don't enjoy this anymore. College football at any level after high school, and even some in high school nowadays, it's a job. It is requiring a lot of their time. And so I think we have to be respectful that, there might be a point where it's like, yeah, I don't find joy anymore in getting up to go to practice. I don't love going to film study. I don't love hitting the weight room. I don't like, X, Y, and Z. That's okay. And that doesn't mean I think we have to allow them that opportunity to experience, and then go, you know what? It's not what I thought it was going to be. And he's still going to excel and do so many other great things. So how are you guiding that conversation? How are you getting him to, sounds like he's already in a pretty good place, but really take the talents that got him on the football field and go, how do you continue to challenge and push and help yourself excel to become the man you want to be? And again, how can I support this how can I support you? What support do you need from me? So I think sometimes, I know as parents, we carry our dreams for our kids. I know I carry the dreams for my kids, because I want the very best for them. I want them to have the life that they dream of. That doesn't mean I'm going to intercede. That doesn't mean I don't respect the twists and turns that are going to come along the way. And that over time, their minds can change. What they started off doing, it's going to change. Because guess what? That's happened to us. We've lived that. And so, but we have to learn how to get inquisitive, ask questions, and support our kids along the way, because that's all that they're really looking for. So, mom in Iowa, I just think it's number one, you're a mom. And I think I love the fact that you care just as much about your kid's dream as you care about them, because you want them to achieve it. You want them to accomplish what they set their minds out to accomplish. And if he said, "This is what I want," I don't think it's wrong to be inquisitive. I think we just have to really start asking questions earlier on, understand how to guide them. Ask questions like, "How long have you been thinking about this?" "Oh, wow, for the last 3 or 4 months." "Wonderful. Do you feel good about your decisions? Do you think you live with any regret?" You know, it's never "I told you so." You just want them to be making the best decisions for them and not look back and live a life of regret. You want them to live full out in full expression, trying everything. And so kudos to you for recognizing, I think, where you're at, what's going on. Because I think sometimes as parents, we don't recognize that. We don't know when to pull back. But I think continue to love big our kids, continue to get curious, continue to ask questions, and just continue to support and guide and make sure that whatever the next dream is, whether that's becoming an executive, an architect, an engineer, I don't know what your son wants to become, but pour that same love and energy into that you did into football, because it's going to translate. So continue, parents, to love your kids, to hold on to their dreams, but to ensure that, when they decide to pivot, that that's okay and that they can keep going. Regardless of what you think, how great they are, it's our job to just guide and be a part of it. So thank you again for the still holding on in Ohio. I very much appreciate it. This is Monday Morning Mom. So for all of you moms or dads out there that have a perplexing question around sports parenting, drop me a letter and I will read it on air anonymously, and we will kind of walk through it just as we did. But again, thank you. Enjoy your Monday, and I will see you next week.